What are you hiding from? What are you running from? Is it your pain, or is it your power, your purpose, and your potential? I would hazard a guess, if you're anything like me, you're more comfortable with your pain, your trauma, and your fear than you are your power and your potential. Because over here, it's kind of familiar. Our power, our purpose, and our potential hold so many unknowns. And if we step into it and we fail, what then? Even more scary for some of us. What if I step into it and I succeed? What then? And who am I accountable to? Because once you look into that and you open the door and you get a feel for it, you can hide from it and you can run from it, but you always know down here when you're not living up to your best. And I'm not talking about perfectionism. I am not talking about being on all the time. I'm talking about when you're sitting with yourself and it's only you, your thoughts, and your truth. Did you show up and do the best you could with what you had from where you are? And those of us that are honest with ourselves and are going through some different things, we're in different parts of our journey, parts of our evolution, where we know that looks different in any given moment, on any given day. What I did yesterday might not be what I'm able to do today based off of a lot of different things, particularly if you are someone who carries a lot of roles and responsibilities. Some not by choice, some by choice. If you're a mum, if you're a business owner, if you're a community leader, like whatever it is your thing, this might be your thing. The warrior heart. Standing in your power, being your truth, and following your heart. Because here's the thing, if you are someone who has experienced the world telling you that you're not allowed to be that version of yourself, or you're only allowed to be this version of yourself to be accepted, whether that's in your workplace, whether that's in your home, your culture, or out in the world, or it could be just even within yourself. Who are you to be that person? The shaming that we do to ourselves, the guilt that we do to ourselves, the internal narrative that may have developed as a result of conditioning, experiences, trauma. So if you've had to fight to be yourself in the world, to go, it's easy for people to say, just be yourself and don't care about what other people think. But if you have had the experience where you tried to show up and you put your hand up and said, this is who I am in the world, and the world rejected you for that, and by the world, I mean your family, your workplace, a friend. There was an incident out in the world that told you and showed you that it was not safe to be yourself in the world. So you retreated. You hid that part of yourself. You buried that part of yourself. Now is the time to reconnect with that, because that is the most elemental part of who you are. Your heart doesn't lie. Your heart bypasses your ego and it bypasses your trauma. And yet, in order to have your truth, you're going to have to fight for it. And it is now more than ever that we need you to fight, because we need to be turning off autopilot. We need to turn off numbing. We need to wake up and align with our truth, our power, our potential, and our purpose. Because as we step into our power and our purpose, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same through our own example. But here's the other most powerful thing. For those of you that feel tired or burnt out or overwhelmed, trying to be all the things in the world, when you are awakened to your own calling, to your own purpose and your strength, to your truth, and you are in alignment with that, you don't need batteries, because it becomes its own energy source. You don't need discipline and motivation, because you're already committed to something bigger than yourself. We may have to navigate our human tendencies of avoidance, of fears, of habits that we've neurologically wired into our brain as going, that's who I am and that's how I've always done things. And yet here's what I can tell you from the depths of my life and my experience and my heart, is that when you are awakened to your power and your potential, you are in alignment to that power and that potential. It is not about having a 10-year roadmap. If you're lucky enough to have that, wow, perfect, great. That's a really powerful thing to have. But if you have a vision in mind, if you have a calling in mind, and you are willing today to show up and go, what is the next best step that I can take to move towards that so that it becomes possible? And you can do that from where you are, who you are, and with what you have. What is the done good enough version of that task or that step to create progress, to create momentum, so that by your thing and your strength and your gifts being out in the world, they can be co-created in relationship with the world. The world might take you by you saying yes, the world might open up a completely different direction. Because here's the thing, some of us can only dream from where we are and who we are. And the dreams that we have, the vision that we have, might not be the sky, they might be just the next level. And when you get to that level, that is the foundation that opens up the whole world, the whole universe, to where you are, what you are capable of, and where you could go. If you have the courage to lean in and go, who am I? Where do I want to be in 5 years? What kind of life do I want to have? Who do I want to be in the world? So that my showing up and who I'm being in the world, those that I love and serve, are beneficiaries of my showing up and my efforts, not collateral damage to my fears and my trauma. Because here's what I know. In 2025, I'm done surviving life. After coming through the hardest year of my life in 2024, I'm done prostituting my trauma and my adversity to justify my rise, my 3 world titles, my degrees, my strength and power as a First Nations woman and mother. My strength and my power are seated in my ancestral dreaming and power. I am on a journey of reclamation and remembering of my power as a woman and a First Nations woman. And I'm weaving that as the foundations for my rise, not my trauma and my adversity. Those things have shaped me and influenced me, but they have not defined me. And I will no longer prostitute or monetize my trauma. I will use them to teach and guide and share my experiences, but I will no longer use them as a hook to bring other people into why they should work with me, why I bring value to their workplace, or why my story is a place of transformation and empowerment. And it can awaken other people. It can shift narratives. It can challenge the status quo. It can break the chains of the past. So if this has spoken to you in any way, if there is something in your life that has been calling you, that you know if you did that thing, it could open up a whole new world. That thing that scares you a little bit, but it just will not leave you alone. And it might not be an old thing. It might be something that's in your past that you've forgotten or that you buried so deep, and yet it's never left you. This is your time. Because you know you're going to have to fight to become the person who can carry that thing, to be that thing in the world, to be brave enough, to be bold enough, to be yourself without apology. This is where the warrior heart can serve you. Now, how can you work with me? I'm hosting an event on the 1st of February in Mildura and Latchi Latchi country. And I'll be hosting Empowered Warrior Hearts events around Australia over the next coming months and into 2025. My book is coming out July 1st, Warrior Heart, Suicide to World Champion. My podcast, Journey to Black Belt and Warrior Heart Yarns with Annie Shan. You can follow my socials. You can join my Warrior Heart community over on School. It is a gifted community where I share more of this, my teachings, bringing other people in who are warrior hearts in their life or are emerging warrior hearts. This is the thing. This is not for the faint of heart. This is for people who are ready to get up, stand up and show up, to be a part of their own solution, knowing that when they show up and stand up, they give others permission to do the same, and they are creating a legacy that is worthy of the next generation. And I'm opening up coaching spots, and soon I'm doing something really special and powerful. I will be opening up a small group coaching mastermind, inner circle, for people, for women and people who are ready to go deep on the work of the warrior heart. So if you want to know more, hit me up. But here's the thing. Just sit with yourself and ask yourself one question. What has been calling me that if I had the courage to say yes, could open up my world in a way that I can only imagine about right now? Big love you, mob. Hit me up and let me know if this resonated with you.